Yo, you know what it is. LA Icon, Shaka Wear, Beyond the Label podcast. And to my right, your left, we have the one of the. Are you the best trainer in the world ever?
I don't want to. I don't want to say that. There's been great trainers. Emmanuel Stewart is one of my favorites, so I can't say I'm better than Emmanuel Stewart. And then there's also like guys like Nacho Beristain from Mexico who have been legends at this. So I don't want to consider myself the best, bro.
I respect it. Well,
I know I'm still learning from those guys.
before we get too deep into you being a trainer, I'd like to give you your flowers as a fighter. You had an amazing career as a fighter. Would you have 26 or 25 knockouts?
I had 25 knockouts,
Me and
34 wins.
Me and you were kidding around a couple of days ago when we were talking about people hitting me or what have you, and you said something about the knockout to win ratio. So, you might have had some power. You know what? Maybe I'm going to put on the pad and let you hit me.
You know what? I could probably do it for maybe, you were doing it for 20 seconds. Those guys were going off at you. I think I could do it for less than 5 because I'm out of shape. So, I'm 49 already. So,
Getting up there.
getting up there, bro.
You're still the man. You are, junior lightweight IBF title holder?
Correct.
You also had the NABF
And
titles.
title, correct.
Which are, you know what? What's up with that? What's up with that commission?
You know what? They don't really consider them powerful anymore. Back then, that was a great title. You get that title, you already ranked in the top 10. That winning that title got me ranked number 1 in the WBC, and I also became ranked number 1 in the IBF, which is the one I went after. The champion for the WBC was Genaro Hernandez. Rest in peace, Genaro Hernandez,
RIP.
who I was really good friends with. I started my career with him in Tokyo. We fought together in Tokyo when I turned pro. So we were really good friends. So I chose to go the IBF direction because, it was in him. He was WBC champion at that time.
As a boxer, obviously to hold a belt rather, you have to pay the sanctioning commissions, whoever the belt's from. Is that it? Is that like a big fee?
It's correct, bro. Every time a fighter wins a world title belt or any championship belt, you got to pay 3% of your purse.
3% isn't horrible.
Well, when you're talking about guys that make $1 million, it's a lot of money.
30
Guys that
grand,
make
40 grand,
10
50
million,
grand.
you know what I mean? It does add up, but it's just the way it is. We also got to understand that before we're champions, we want that belt. We
Of
need
course.
that belt. Without that belt, we won't make that $1 million payday.
For sure.
So it's worth it, bro. I think they deserve it also. That 3% is more than fair. I've seen a lot of fighters complain and go on even on social media and the news. 3% is a lot. Yeah, but before you got the belt, you were making $30,000. Now you're making $3 million. It's a big difference. So
a big jump.
I think the organizations they more than earn their 3%. And like you said, when it comes to looking at the numbers, it's not exaggerating. It's not that much. So I think it's fair.
And when you were a boxer, what were some adversities you faced being a Latino boxer back then?
You know what? We're talking, man, I turned pro at 17, over 30 years ago. And it's not, it wasn't easy. It was harder back then. The weigh-ins were the day of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, that changed after.
To get people just in case.
No. When fighters make weight, they cut weight, bro. And we kill ourselves to make weight.
Absolutely.
We don't drink water. We used to do it the wrong way. We thought cutting the water was the best way to cut weight, and it's totally the opposite. The more water you drink, the easier it is to cut weight. So we used to do it the wrong way, and it was you're weighing in at 11 in the morning, and you're fighting at 5 or 6 p.m. So you only have one meal to rehydrate. Now they do the weigh-ins the night before or the day before, not even the night before, the day before. So after the weigh-ins, you go have a good lunch, you have a good dinner, then the next day you have a good breakfast, you're gonna have another lunch, and then you fight. You drink a lot of liquids, so you're able to rehydrate, pretty well.
Was there ever a rehydration clause back then?
I never heard of that before until Mayweather started doing it.
Oh, so Floyd made that
I
shit
think
up.
Mayweather's the one that started, bro. I never heard about that when we were fighting Oscar. We fought a lot. I fought a lot under Oscar De La Hoya. Big fights, cards, because we were pretty much both fighting for top rank and fighting for the same management. I never, unless I'm wrong, I never heard of Oscar doing a rehydration class or
anything of that nature,
or Chavez or Mike. Mike Tyson's a heavyweight. The first person that I heard that from was Mayweather, and now Canelo does that a lot too.
It's crazy. What were some of the pressures you faced? Like, what was it like for you knowing, okay, shit, I finally got a big title fight coming up? What's it like entering into that scenario in your mind for you?
It was more for me because, I'm not talking for myself, not for anybody else. For me, it was more about doing it for my dad, because that was my dad's dream.
Shout out to your dad.
Having a world champion. He loved the sport. He's the one that got me into boxing since I was a kid. He got my older brother into boxing. My sisters all knew how to box. Mikey obviously also became a world champion, but it was for my dad pretty much. When I won the title, I didn't really feel like I'm a champion. I didn't really feel like that was my dream. It was more for my dad. That's the reason I became champion, and that's who I did it for. It was more for my dad.
I think it's safe to say, like, it's kind of like when people say they do it for their children or they do it for their parents, or like you just said, it's almost like you want to do it more than you wanted it for yourself.
I never really, I never really seen it like that for myself, because I never really had that passion for the sport. I did it because obviously I was good. My dad was always pushing me to do it since I was a kid, and obviously winning a world title was huge. Good paydays also, so defending it was fun and good. I did it because obviously that was more like a business where I could provide for my family. I already had my two oldest boys, so already had a home with my wife and everything. So yeah, so I did it. But if it wasn't for my dad, I don't think I would have been a boxer.
So let's assume your dad stopped training and he wasn't your trainer for your whole career. Would you have continued boxing since you were mainly doing it for him had he not been your trainer?
I don't think I would have continued boxing. Honestly, I think I would have also, if my dad would have never pushed me, and if my dad would have said I can't train you anymore, I don't think I would have fought, because I was doing it for him, because it was, growing up, it was, the gym, boxing. After we didn't do anything, I love all the sports, man. I love soccer. Soccer is probably my favorite sport. But I was never able to participate in any teams or anything like that because boxing, baseball. I also like baseball, and I was never able to do anything like that because boxing, man. After school, I had to be home by 3:30 because we have to go to the gym. Be at the gym by 4, get home by 8. Do a little bit of homework or whatever,
boom, sleep,
and then sleep and wake up at 5 a.m. to go run because we had to run in the morning before school. So that was my life, bro. That was my life. I never really got to do anything else. So I know that if my dad would have said I'm out of boxing, I would have been out too.
How happy was your father when you first brought home that title?
He tells me that's the best feeling he's ever had, even though Mikey became a pretty badass superstar, winning 4 division champion, 5-time champion of the world. He still says that when I won the title is the biggest moment in his life.
That's love.
Correct.
Let me ask you this: what was the pay scenario considering he's your dad? Like, as your trainer, was it strictly business? It was like, mijo, I don't give a. Like, how did that go?
When I first moved in with my wife, we lived with my parents for 2-3 years.
Normal.
I think it was until I won my title, bro. And my dad never asked for money or anything. He always raised his family working in the strawberry fields. So that was enough for him. He bought his first home in Oxnard, working, in the strawberry fields. Him and my mom always worked in the strawberry fields, and so they didn't need anything else. They were already, they already
Content.
raised their kids. Exactly that we always had food in the table. We always had somewhere to sleep. So that's all he worried about. He wasn't expecting me to give him money. Obviously, when big paydays come, or especially with Fernando Vargas, Fernando made a lot of money. So my dad was his trainer, and obviously my dad got paid. So he obviously invested money and did stuff like that. That was different, but he never really needed it because he had already raised his family, and he was happy doing that.
How did he feel when you told him it was time for you to hang it up? Or did he assist you in that decision?
No, I made that decision, but he supported me because I had already been a world champion. I had already, did what very few can say they did. I defended my title a couple times. My last fight, I won that fight. And after that fight in the locker room, I told everybody, never again. I was only 26 years old. And I told everybody, never again will you guys see me in the ring. I won, but I never want to do it again. I could have still picked up maybe a couple of good fights, a couple of good paydays, but what for, man? I already had my kids too. I wanted to raise my kids. I wanted to be able to communicate with my kids. I wanted to play with my boys. A lot of fighters end up with speech problems. A lot of fighters end up with balance problems. So, double vision is another thing that a lot of fighters get, but most of them are afraid to say it. I got that double vision, and it was Gennaro Hernandez who told me. He's like, I know you have double vision, Robert. I'm like, how do you know? He's like, because I have it too. So he took me to the doctor that he went. We got surgery, and obviously everything went well. I still had a few fights with double vision and after I got the surgery, but because you can still fight, it's not like it's something that stops your career, but it's not easy. So all those things, seeing a lot of fighters in Southern California, I don't want to mention names because a lot of them are friends, but a lot of them have speech problem, bro. A lot of them have balance. A lot of them have just different problems that I said, man, I don't want to end up like that. I have my kids, I have my wife, I want to enjoy my family.
I respect it. So how easy was it for you to actually, what made you want to be a trainer? Because obviously you hung it up, you're 26. Do you go to being an assistant trainer with your dad, or do you start training your own fighters, or how does that take place?
When I retired, when I said that's it for boxing after my last fight, I thought I thought I would never go back to boxing, not even as a trainer or anything. I wanted to focus on my family, and I started taking some college classes. I wanted to maybe become a police officer, but going through all that, I went on a ride along with a police officer in Oxnard, and after a few days doing that, I realized that wasn't for me.
Why?
In Oxnard, because in Oxnard, 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, it was a lot different. Now, the life has changed. Since the 2000s, a lot of things have changed. But back then, Oxnard was a lot smaller than it is now. So most of the people there were Mexican field workers, picking strawberries. A lot of them illegals also. So starting to see the way, they would pull over people, take their cars because they didn't have a license, give tickets for actually sometimes for no reason.
It would have weighed on your conscience?
I wouldn't be able to do that, bro. I wasn't going to be able to do that. So I said, nah, this is not for me. So my dad invited me to the gym. My dad was still running the La Colonia Boxing Club. Yep. My dad invited me to the gym. I started participating with the kids. And then he told me one day, he says, you know what? I think you have a good eye for boxing. Why don't you start training a few professional fighters? And he gave me two fighters, two of my best friends. One of them actually works with me, Felipe Campa. He's here with us. Felipe Campa was a professional fighter, and the other one, Arturo Barraza. And he told me, train them and see how well you do. So I started training them. Started winning fights, but what caught my attention and what I fell in love with was traveling, bro. I traveled all over the world when I was fighting. Tokyo, Japan.
That's where you had your first fight.
That's where I turned pro, my first 3 professional fights. Germany, Mexico, all over the United States, New Jersey, Florida, I fought in Las Vegas. But we're there to make weight, fight, and then go home. So I never got to really enjoy the the places that I went to.
Sights and sounds.
Then as a trainer, they go to bed. I could go out and have a few beers and go see the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what caught my attention. I love the traveling and enjoying different towns, different cities, different countries. So that's what kind of caught my attention, and I started doing good. Then my brother Mikey was already started fighting as an amateur. I took him to the nationals in Louisiana, and right there I met a couple of young fighters that I brought over to Oxnard. I housed them for a few years, and that's how I started. Then I got connections with Top Rank and Cameron Duncan, who was a great manager. He just passed away a few months ago, and he was a great manager. So I started connecting myself with him, and that was the beginning.
What actually makes a good trainer to you?
A lot of people think. A lot of people think that somebody that's good with the mitts and does all this, that's just a show. A lot of people think, oh, that's a great trainer. No, a trainer needs to know the sport, needs to know technique from your opponents, from your own fighter. You got to pick up what your fighter's good at. All my fighters, I have 20 plus, 30 plus fighters, and everybody fights different. Mikey had a totally different style to Brandon Rios. But they both became champions.
Absolutely.
Nonito Donaire had a total different style than Marcos Maidana, but they both became champions also. They both had great fights. They both became heroes. So you got to know how to train your fighters. Everybody's different. I can't train everybody the same. So you got to pick that up. You got to know that, and you got to know that nobody's the same. So, I think that's what's made me what I am. If you go through all my champions that I've had, 14 of them, they've all been different. They've all had different styles. They've all, some are punchers, some are counter punchers, some are boxers, some are brawlers. You know what I mean? I got to train them all their own style, the way they're supposed to. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to the opponents, also we got to know how to beat the opponent. A lot of trainers don't know that, man. They're just coaches. They're not trainers.
So then at that point, like you pointed out, everybody is different and everyone needs to be treated differently as far as how to train them. How important is the game plan? And are you giving everyone kind of the same game plan? Is there like a template game plan and then you fine tune certain things for certain opponents and certain things for their traits and things like that? Or how does that go?
Everybody's different because even though we could say, oh, look at that guy, he's fighting so-and-so and he's fighting a different style, but then when he fights you, he might change everything around. You never know. So everybody has to be trained different. A lot of fighters, I've had some fighters where during the fight, I have to look in their eyes and slap them, say, you're not doing things right. You're not doing what I'm telling you. You got to wake them up. But then there's also those that are very sensitive. If you do something like that, it'll make it worse. So you got to know your fighters. There's fighters in the gym where I could, mess around, but then there's those that you got to be a little bit more quiet, a little bit different. Everybody's different. And you got to learn how to deal with every fighter.
Would you say being a champ would make you a better trainer?
I don't think that makes you a better trainer. I think there's been a lot more trainers that were never champions.
Okay.
Nacho Beristain was never a champion. Freddie Roach was never a champion. And the list goes on. My dad was never a champion, and he was a great trainer. He made Fernando Vargas, myself, and Mikey world champions because he had that talent. So it's not about because I was world champion that makes me a better trainer. I think what I brought to being a trainer, what maybe other fighters don't, I have a lot of patience. And fighters and real fighters, when they come to train somebody, if they don't do things right, they'll walk away and they'll give up. I've never given up. I've been doing this for 20 years already, 20 plus years as a trainer, and I don't give up on my fighters. I started them from the amateurs to turning pro to becoming champions, and that takes 5, 6, 7 years. Former fighters, former champions that want to train somebody, they think it's going to be quick. They want to do it quick, but no, you got to be patient. You got to know that. I met Bam Rodriguez when he was 10 years old, 10 or 12 years old. I brought him to camp when he was 15. 2 years as in camp. Then we turned him pro at 17. He's now 24, but he's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world now. He's unified, 2 division champion. It's taken us way over 10 years since we met. Mikey, started at 14. 27, 28 is when he becomes champion. He starts making all the big money at 30, 31. So it takes over 10 years. You got to be patient.
So right now you just said some people are strong, well, got a strong personality. Some people are a little bit sensitive. I think it's safe to say not everyone is born a fighter, and that fighters are made, kind of like how you're saying, you're carrying them from infancy, basically, from the amateurs all the way through. How do you build their mentality to be strong? And I don't mean their personalities like to horseplay or anything like that. I mean like to withstand the pressures of boxing.
You know what has helped me a lot is all the fighters that I have. If we go back to when I was in Oxnard, younger fighters, younger amateurs, or maybe guys that are turning pro but early in their career. We've always had guys like Marcos Maidana, who was a street guy in Argentina. He had bullets in his bag, from just being a street boy. You have guys like Fernando Vargas, like Mikey, who Mikey wasn't a street boy, but he grew up in the gym, so they know how it is, and they see that and they pick that up. Here in this gym, in my gym right now, man, if you see Virgil Ortiz putting beatings on everybody, and you see Virgil Ortiz training like nobody else does, you see Bam doing the same thing, well, all these younger ones, that's what they're seeing. So it's a lot easier now, than, to change somebody like that. You could change them and you can make them like that. But to me, it's easy because we already have those guys that they're already looking up to, like Virgil Ortiz, Bam Rodriguez, who are badass little dudes, young fighters. So they want to train as hard because they know that that's what it takes. That they're seeing it in the gym pretty much.
So like you said, you've had some of the most elite fighters, your brother, Victor, Antonio Margarito, Brandon Rios, Fernando Vargas, Anthony Joshua, even the list goes on. What to you makes a good fighter?
Man, there's something that my dad always told me when I started, and he says there's quite a few qualities, but there's 4 he said that he likes to pick up, and he says you got to see somebody's power. You got to feel it. That's one of the main things. You got to see his chin also, how well he could take a punch. You got to see how dedicated he is, because if you don't have dedication, you could be the most talented fighter, but if you're not dedicated, you ain't going nowhere. And then he said you also have to see his qualities, footwork qualities. And since then, I see that too. I love fighters with good footwork, because 2 of my favorite fighters had beautiful footwork, and that's Sugar Ray Leonard and Orlando Canizales. Their footwork was unbelievable. So when I was fighting, I actually copied some of the footwork, and it was pretty effective. So Bam right now, he's got beautiful footwork. So that my dad always told me those qualities. He says the rest you could teach them. The rest you're gonna teach. You're gonna teach them how to throw a jab. You're gonna teach them how to throw a 1-2. You're gonna teach them how to move their head. You're gonna teach them how to stand strong, how to keep their balance. But those are the qualities that you have to see in a fighter.
So if someone
sorry,
go ahead.
And you don't have. My dad says, and they don't have to have all 4. With 1 or 2, that's enough to be champions. And it's true. If you have somebody that hits hard, just get them in good shape, and that's enough to become a world champion, because one punch is going to make a difference. You could be losing the whole fight. One punch, you still have that chance because you have power. And if you have a good chin and you're in good shape, you're going to beat the most talented fighter, because you're going to keep pressuring him. You're going to take his punch, so you're going to go after him, and you're going to tire him out and get him in the last few rounds, and you're going to win the fight. So my dad was right, and those are qualities that I see, and they're very effective.
So let me ask you this then. Would you rather have someone that's more coachable or someone that's more athletic?
Man, you know what? I probably prefer one more cultural. There's a lot of athletic people in the sport in the world and different sports, but that's not it. That's not all. You could be so athletic. We've dealt with those in the gym where they're so athletic, but then when the bell rings and they feel a hard punch, maybe their heart's not there. You know what I mean? If their heart's not there, you could be the most athletic person in the sport, but if your heart's not there, you're gonna quit.
I feel it. How important is a good team, and how do you assemble one?
That's what I did, bro. I wouldn't have all the fighters that I have, and I wouldn't have all the success if I didn't have the team that I have. Even when I was in Oxnard, my son was young and he was still in high school, so he wasn't part of my team. The people that I had over there were also great teammates. We have to have the people that are always in the same page. I can't have somebody that thinks he knows more than us or not more than me or my dad, because my dad's always part of my team also. We can't, because if that's the case, then it's not going to work out. Everybody that works for us needs to know that we know what we're doing, and they have to believe in us. So right now, my son Pita, my dad's still part of every fight, every game plan.
Absolutely.
I show him videos. What do you think? Okay, work on this, and you'll be fine. So my dad, obviously, my son Pita, Chepe, Felipe, and those are my four coaches. But we also need a good strength and conditioning coach, and that's Charles Tremblay. He's a doctor. He knows what he's doing. Every fighter, he's been Jose Ramirez strength and conditioning coach for all his career, so over 10 years. Jose has never got tired in one of his fights. He finishes from round 1 to round 12.
He has gas than ever. Forever.
Virgil, same thing, and he's working with Virgil. Bam doesn't get, so he gets the guys in really good shape. So that's the team I have. It's 5 of us working our ass off to have what we have. If it was just myself, I could probably train Jose, Virgil, and Bam, and probably that's it, because I wouldn't have time. If I have to travel to different fights, then who stays behind me? When I travel to the fights, it's always going to be 2 or 3 staying behind. If I need help, I'll take one, but then two are staying behind with the rest of the team. So there's also those dates that we have fighters fighting in the same day, different locations. We have to split up.
You have to.
We have to.
So let me ask you this. So you assembled a good team. We know you're a good trainer. How do you come up with a good game plan, and how easy is it for you to execute it with the fighter? Because obviously you're coming up with the game plan between, I'm assuming, you and your team.
Correct.
How hard is it for you to execute and relay that game plan to your fighter and have him do it in the ring?
See, a lot of people think a game plan is setting up how many rounds you're gonna do in sparring, how much you're gonna be working out, mitts and everything, and that's a workout plan for condition, and we do that with all of our fighters. We start off slow, we pick it up. When we get to the peak, then the last week before the fight, we start cutting it down. But that's not the game plan to fight. A lot of people think, "Oh, that's a great game plan." No, that's the training.
That's the training plan.
When we know we're fighting, obviously, it's not that hard, bro. A lot of trainers think it's really hard, and they spend hours and hours watching videos, watching the opponent. Man, we need all we need to see is got to know who we're fighting. See 4 or 5 rounds. I don't need to see 10 fights. Just catch a little bit of what's his favorite punch, what kind of punches he looks for. If he's lefty, righty, obviously that's very important. But it doesn't necessarily have to be where you study somebody for hours and hours. There's trainers, and I'm not saying they're bad either, but there's trainers that spend hours. They study their opponents and know how many jabs they threw the whole fight for 10 fights in a row. They know how many right hands they threw. They know how many jabs they got hit with. They're not fighting my fighter. They're fighting somebody else. So if they only got hit with one jab and per round, but if my fighter throws that jab, they're gonna get hit more times. You know what I mean? So it's you just have to see little things. You don't have to see 10 fights round by round, counting every punch. A lot of trainers do that, but it's not necessary. I think that's just too much. Just watch a few videos, pick up little things, and go to work. Because when the bell rings, he's never fought your fighter, and my fighter's never fought him. So whatever I seen on videos could be totally the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
We have fighters that you see guys like Terence Crawford. How do you get ready against Terence Crawford? You got to have lefties and righties, because you don't know if he's going to come and fight as a righty, and you don't know if it's because he switches, and there's fights that he does as a lefty the whole fight, but then there's fights where he switches also. So how do you prepare?
You don't know.
Just have both righties and left-handers and expect
him to switch mid-fight for anything. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's just the way it is. We can't expect from videos that we watch that's what we're going to see in the ring. Doesn't happen. I rather see it the first round or two.
To really
that's
gauge.
Where I know. That's where I see what my opponent's actually looking for. The first 2 rounds, at least the first round, I don't even see what my fighter's doing. I see what my opponent is doing. I read their body. I see what they're doing. I focus on my opponent, not my fighter. I already know what my fighter's doing. I already know what my fighter trained to do. I'm looking at my opponent to see what he's looking for, what he's, I got to pick up those things. And then obviously when the bell rings, then give my fighter instructions.
Clearly, like I said in the beginning, we know you're a great boxer. Of course, we know you're a great trainer. So with both of those things in mind, how are we able to figure out what separates a good fighter from an elite fighter?
Man.
As you're getting them, you know what I mean?
Sometimes it's hard, bro, because we've had fighters that their first 10, 15 fights, man, you could sell them for millions because they just looking so freaking talented. Everybody sees them, and where'd you get this kid? Where'd you find him? This kid is special, But then when it comes to the tougher fights, they fold, and everything changes. And then there's those that nobody sees much in them at the beginning. There's no promoters that even want to sign them because they don't see nothing special. But they're the ones that become badasses. So it's sometimes you just have to. Sometimes it's also luck. See which one's the one that's going to do it.
Is there such a thing as looking at someone and seeing that they have potential? Because, like, let's say I'm ringside in the corral at a fight. I have no knowledge on these guys in the prelims. We don't know who these guys are. Me and my wife will be like, you know what? I think that guy's going to win. He may or may not win. That's not the point. My point is for you, someone who's got way more experience, how are you able to see who does or doesn't have potential? Or is it just a luck of the draw?
You know what? It's easy to see who has potential. But even all those kids with so much talent, like I told you
said,
when you get somebody from Mexico that could take your punch and keeps coming, you could fold. You're gonna fold unless you're one of those kids too that doesn't care and you're gonna go out there and finish. Then you'll be very successful. But it happens a lot in boxing, man. You have the first 10, 15 fights. Most of the promoters, if you're signed with a good promoter, they're going to take care of your career. They're going to take care of your opponents, and you're going to look sensational. You're going to be knocking everybody out. But then, if you're not ready, when there's those kids with 10 losses that are going to give you trouble because they keep coming. They're
hungry still.
And if you're and that also building a kid up, to 10, 15 fights, all by knockout, it could also hurt him because he knows he's knocking everybody out, so he's getting away with it, and he might think my next fight is going to be the same way. But then you get one of those kids with 10 losses that's going to keep coming, that's going to take your punch, and you're going to be in trouble in the late rounds.
I remember in one of our conversations we had, pretty much sitting right here, you told me when you found Victor as a kid, like you could tell he had a lot of heart and he was super hungry. You even took him in and everything. How, if another young man were to come up to you and you could tell he was super hungry, but he had no way available to pay for the means of training, how likely would you be able to invest in him?
Vic, now that you brought up his name, he's one of those that when he was growing up, his first few fights, everybody, there was not one single person that didn't think he was going to be the next Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar did sign him after, there was a lot of things that went on,
Of course.
that we don't need to get into
Yeah, that's
it.
neither here nor there.
But he was talented. That kid was special. We would come to the gym. I'm gonna give you this story. One time, Rudy Hernandez, who I respect so much, and I grew up with, with his brother Gennaro Hernandez, traveling to Japan. One day we would come to LA for sparring, and to the same gym where Rudy would be at. And when Virgil would spar, everybody in the gym would stop to watch him because he was special. He was something. Everybody would stop. And then after he was done, everybody would go back to do their own thing, hit the bags, whatever. Then we would put my brother Mikey in the ring to spar, and Rudy would stay there to watch my brother. And one day I went up to Rudy and I told him, "Hey Rudy, what do you see in my brother? What do you think?" Because he's undecided if he really wants to box. And he says, "Look, Robert, you seen everybody around Victor? Everybody wanted to, because he's talented, and everybody sees the future, future superstar. But Rudy told me, but your brother's gonna be your big star. You watch."
And what were the signs that he told you?
He said, "Look," he doesn't miss punches. My brother was very accurate. He wouldn't throw punches that he didn't need to throw.
Counted when he
threw when they were gonna count. He says, and look, if you see, he's not a flashy footwork, that works his foot, his footwork side to side. He doesn't have that flashy defense, but he doesn't get hit. Right there, just short punch. He just makes the miss, blocks and makes a miss. He says, your brother is going to be your superstar, your best fighter. And he was true. He was right about it. When now if we go back, Victor became a champion, but
didn't reach the heights Mikey
exactly
saw.
Didn't reach that. And we go to that same group, Brandon Rios. When Brandon Rios came out of the amateurs, when I brought him over also when I housed him, and they came to Oxnard, they didn't even want to sign him. Promoters were not too interested in him, but they believed in me. They believed in Cameron Duncan, who was working with me, and signed him to Top Rank. And Brandon became a world champion, made a lot of money, made millions of dollars. So he also had it. We seen it because he had the heart, he had the chin, and he had that power. So those three things, you have to be special to beat him. Pacquiao, you know what I mean? Special. You have to be special to be able to beat him. Brandon, when he first before he became champion, Top Rank put him in against Anthony Peterson, who HBO
I remember
did a special, like 30-minute special on him. And he's fighting some kid from Garden City, Kansas, named Brandon Rios.
Gave him the business.
They thought Peterson was going to destroy Brandon. Brandon beat the shit out of him. Then he fought for the world title against Acosta from Venezuela. Also, same thing. Nobody gave Brandon a chance. But the first 4 rounds, Brandon was getting his ass kicked. But then he started, little by little, breaking him down, knocked him out, I believe, like the 11th round. You know what I mean? To become a world champion. That was Brandon. Brandon would get hit, but he would keep coming, never gave up until he broke him down. And that's how that's how he was successful. One of the best fights here at the the Stop Hub against Mike Alvarado. One of the best fights ever. Same thing. Getting hit a lot, but breaking him down until he knocked him out. And that's the way Brandon was. So out of those three, I could probably say from the amateurs to the early in their career, everybody would have paid millions of dollars for Victor. But at the end, it was Mikey and Brandon that probably did more. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Just the way boxing is, bro.
Let me ask you this. Is it illegal for anyone in someone's training camp to bet on them in Vegas?
No, it's not illegal. Look.
Is it frowned upon?
I'm gonna give you an example. We had Joshua Franco. when Top Rank called me to offer me the fight against Andrew Maloney was the champion, and they told me we're gonna, I have a good relationship with Top Rank and their matchmaker, so they told me, you like this fight, or we could give you the fight against your fighter. We were the underdogs, bro. I think it started like at 12 to 1. So my son, both my sons, they put in a lot of money. Chepe put in a lot of money because we were. Honestly, both my sons after the fight, because it was during that pandemic, so they weren't even allowed in the fight. My second son, he wasn't even allowed. They seen the fight.
Yeah, you guys were in the bubble. I get it.
We were in the bubble. So they seen the fight from the where you bet. They have the sports.
Yeah, the sports.
So
book.
that's where they seen the fight. And when my son came back with both pockets full of money. He came in with a lot of money because nobody gave us a chance. But we knew how good Josh was, and we started Maloney, and we knew he was going to win. But the odds didn't think so. So yeah, we could bet money. Obviously, if we do something dirty where
that's different.
Oh, then that's different. Okay, you're gonna go get knocked the fuck out.
That's different. No. I don't even mean that. I mean like
we're allowed
a real bet.
Yeah, they
fucking around.
They put money, and they made a lot of money.
And in fights you're not involved in, have you ever placed a wager and been right?
You know what? I never put money in. The only time I put money, I don't even know which fight it was. Recently, I bought my tickets. I don't know. I just put like $300, and I was supposed to win a couple thousand or whatever. And that same night before the fight, I went to the bar, took a few beers, and I lost my ticket. So whoever found it made some money. I lost my ticket. So yeah, that was the only time I put a little bit of money. I don't even remember which fight it was. I'm pretty sure my son probably remembers. I lost my ticket. Never had done it before, and never will do it again.
And historically, as you're watching all these fights unfold, without making a wager, just to your kids or to your dad or just between you and your later, whoever's watching with you, how often are you right about who's going to win a fight?
There's times where we're wrong also.
Of course.
But, I would say most of the time we're probably right. Just recently, a few weeks ago, Anthony Joshua versus Ngannou, I told everybody this fight's it cannot go past 3 rounds.
It's just not. Yeah.
No, because Ngannou did good against Tyson Fury. It's Tyson Fury that didn't do nothing.
He didn't train for
one
nothing.
single day.
Yes.
That's why the fight was closed and he even got dropped because he didn't train one single day. Man, if I go in there and fight, I'm gonna look like shit too. Because I haven't done it in a while.
Just because you can doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know Anthony. I worked with him.
Of course.
He's dedicated. He's
not joking no matter
he's
what.
Got crazy power. That's why I said it cannot go past 3 rounds. Because, people, MMA people, UFC, oh man, these guys have a chance. No, they don't. Not against a real boxer and if the fighter's in shape. We have a lot of younger fighters. We have a lot of younger fighters that when they tell us, who we're fighting, and they tell us, oh, it's an MMA fighter, let's take it because we know it's going to be easy. It's like us going to the cage. It's like us going into the cage.
Yeah, if they grapple you out, it's a wrap.
Kicked. Any boxer, whoever it is, you could have Canelo, you could have Mayweather, the best fighters in the world, going to the cage against the best fighters. They're gonna get destroyed. They're gonna get their ass kicked, bro.
It's just different.
It's totally different. So same thing when they come to boxing. Same thing. Every time we get our young fighters, oh, you're gonna fight a former MMA guy? Oh, do it. It's an easy fight.
Right now, a few seconds ago, just to switch lanes, you mentioned you and Mr. Duncan and having good relationships with matchmakers. How important is it to have a good relationship with the matchmakers?
It's great, bro, because
that's the only way.
Look, you could have a good relationship with Bob Arum, with Eddie Hearn,
whomever,
the main guys. But the matchmakers are the ones that if they like you, they'll take care of your fighters. They'll give you the wins. They'll give you
look super happy right now.
I love that, bro. You know what I mean? You got to have it, bro.
Oh, you're plugged in.
Hell yeah.
He's right now is crazy.
When it comes to dealing with promoters,
that's great.
until it comes to the business side.
I've never seen you smile like this.
Until it comes to the business side, then I'll reach out to the attorneys, to the people that are involved.
Absolutely.
But most of the time, it's just with the matchmaker.
That's the one.
Yeah.
The booker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the man. That's crazy. You made me smile right now. You're so happy. That's badass.
I have a good relationship with him, bro. There's only one promoter that I don't have a relationship
We're working on it. We're working on it.
But hopefully it comes to, because I would love to. They're Southern California promoters, and we grew up together in the amateurs. I would love to.
I'm sure they realize who you're talking about now, if they're watching. Hopefully
I would love to, bro. And I really don't know what went wrong, but I would love to, man, because it's Southern California, and together we could do big time.
If there was, completely off topic now, if there was one technique or one little combo or one special punch you could teach to someone, a kid that's getting bullied at school, after school, me gonna leave here and go get noticed at Walmart by someone that hates me for my takes on the internet. If you could teach one technique to somebody, what would it be?
The jab. That's it. Just the jab. If it's in the street, if it's just all you need is the jab. Just throw the jab, and you could beat anybody. Obviously, if they're not boxers or MMA guys, but with jab, that's all you need.
How do you follow up a jab with a right hand or with an overhand?
If you're fighting, if you're just fighting a regular street person, they're not gonna the jab that they're not gonna know how to counter. They're gonna be like,
oh shit, I can't get
they won't
close.
Be able, you just throw that jab, quick jab. That's all you need.
When was the last time you were in a street fight yourself?
Yeah, man.
That you could allegedly, rather, in case there was one recent.
Yeah, no. That I haven't, bro. I've been staying home for, I would say, at least the last 10 years, maybe. Staying home, enjoying the family.
I respect it.
Yeah, when we were back in Oxnard, I used to like to go out, and there was a few times, but it's been a while.
Probably try their luck.
It's been a while.
You think you're tough, huh, Robert? What's up, homie?
It's been a while, bro. I remember one time I lost my watch, and it's a watch that I had.
You blamed
a Rolex.
somebody, didn't you?
No, I had a Rolex, bro, and somehow
you can have mine. You don't gotta beat me up.
Why? I don't know how we got into a fight and I lost it. I did find it, obviously, and went to pick it up, but I think that was probably the last time, bro. Because it hurt.
And did you jab? You're a professional fighter. You know what you were doing.
But we were drunk, bro. So when you're drunk, you don't know. Was that
individual also trained?
Yeah. No. He was. They were just street guys.
So did you beat him up?
I don't remember.
That's right.
Who left looking worse based on
I think he
witness
kicked my
testimony?
Ass,
you got your ass beat?
I think so, bro.
That's awesome. Exclusive. I want to talk to you about boxing game plans, and we're going to start with had you been the trainer for Victor Ortiz versus Mayweather, how would you have trained him differently? I mean, obviously he got knocked out in a wild ass way, but leading up to that, how would you have trained him differently?
You know what?
I know that's a wild ass question, considering I know who his trainer was, but
that's where I'm coming, bro, because it was my brother, bro. So I can't tell you my brother did something wrong either. You know what I mean? I think it was more Victor that made the wrong decisions. Headbutting him the way he did.
That's crazy.
Because he was actually doing good in the fight.
He was doing decent for sure.
The first few rounds, it wasn't like he was getting his ass kicked. He probably won a few rounds. You know what I mean? So I can't say what I would have done, because my brother would. From the way the fight was, did a great job, because I thought he was doing good, until he made that mistake. When he headbutted Mayweather, he came out after. I never even talked to my brother or asked him about it. I never brought it up, but Victor came out saying that my brother told him to do it.
That's some bullshit.
I don't know. I really don't know if it's true. I never even brought it up to my brother.
Obviously, you know your brother.
When it comes to to my relationship with my brother, because that really, back then things that happened, it kind of split the family apart. But now, we're good. But when we see each other, when we talk, I don't like to bring up boxing, because
It's
boxing
better that way.
because boxing
It's a sensitive fucking issue.
Boxing is what split our family apart.
Absolutely.
So I don't bring it up. We were together a few weeks ago. We hug. We talk. We joke
No,
around.
yeah, you guys are good.
But
boxing is not.
I don't bring it up. I don't want to. I'd rather
it's
not,
better that way.
because I don't. That's what kind of messed up our family. It caused my mom a lot of pain. And now that my mom is gone,
Rest in peace.
There's no need to bring it up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm never gonna ask him that. But I've heard Victor say that his corner told him to.
And in your opinion, you think he's full of shit?
I think so too. I don't think my brother would do that.
Respectfully.
And after that, what Mayweather did, what
he does.
A lot of people, oh, he's dirty. That was a cheap shot. But what happened to him 2 minutes earlier was worse. You know what I mean?
Pretty crazy.
Protect yourself at all time.
Straight up.
Those are the rules the fighters always say, bro. Protect yourself at all time. The judge, the refs always tell you, protect yourself at all times. Yeah.
What game plan did you implement for Maidana versus Broner? Was going to the body and coming up top with the left like the game plan the whole time?
You know what? Maidana was more like a street fighter. He was, he didn't have much technique. He was just tremendous heart, and the power that he had, I knew, that fighting the way he did, just going at him like no respect. I knew Broner was not going to hurt Maidana. So I said, just go in there, don't respect it. It was easier than I expected, honestly. The first few rounds, because Broner was a very
of course,
very talented
we
fighter.
all thought he was going to be the next guy.
So, just pressure him. It was the same instructions when he fought Mayweather the first time. Just throw punches. Wherever they land, they're going to hurt. Doesn't matter where they land,
Just land them.
And that's what he did. That was, it was easy to do the game plan, because there was nothing to, you have to pivot here, move here, because Maidana wasn't that fighter. Maidana was going to be pressure
He's
you.
in the pocket.
Throw punches from all different angles, landing in the ears, in the head, shoulders, ribs, wherever they land, they're going to hurt. Back of the head, who cares? Wherever they land, they're going to hurt.
Is that the same plan you gave to Mike?
Who to?
Mikey? When he fought Broner?
No, Mikey totally different, bro. Totally the opposite. Mikey would never fight like that. Mikey's more of a technical fighter, jab, step back, counter.
So what was the plan you gave to Mikey, since he also beat Broner?
With Broner, I think having a fighter like Mikey who was more technical, we knew Broner was also going to be smart and not throw many punches, try to counter. So we kind of beat him to his plan, where Mikey's, just keeping the jab and try to counter. Once a few rounds went by and we seen that Broner was kind of already didn't figure Mikey out, then we told Mikey to pick it up a little. That's when Mike started landing more body shots and throwing a little more punches. But the plan was to beat him to his own game plan, because Broner was a very, very technical fighter. But I think Mikey was just a little bit smarter than him.
So technically, you're 2-0 against Broner, as far as I know, unless you have more fighters that beat Broner. But so it's safe to say you solved the puzzle against him as a trainer. How much do you think you had to do with winning more than the fighter? Like, had the fighter been trained by someone else, do you think they would have executed the victory the same way?
I think Maidana, and I don't think he'll let me lie, and everybody in Argentina, he won because of me. I think Mikey was so smart in the ring that Mikey could have beat him
with or without you.
With or without me.
My next question is, if you trained me to that level, would I beat Adrian Broner?
Probably not, bro. Probably not. You know what? In Broner, we joke around. We've spent time in Vegas.
He's a cool cat, man.
Yeah, he's really cool. So he's told me, I want to fight your fighter Jose Ramirez, or I said, bro,
you don't want that.
I'm I'm 2-0 with you. Instead of trying to fight my fighters, join me. I'll train you so you could, 'cause you can't. You're not gonna beat me. I've told him many times, you're not gonna beat me. I need to beat you one time. I want to fight Jose. Well, that's probably the worst guy. That guy's gonna be on top of you throwing punches like a. So you're not gonna beat him either. We joke around and everything because he's honestly he's a really good person. We spend time together and he's always showed me nothing but love and vice versa too. So, but yeah, I always tell him, join me instead of trying to beat me because you're never gonna beat me.
That's crazy. As a trainer, on average, what does the average trainer make in big fights? Or is it percentage based? Is it like a flat fee? Is it both? Like you get a flat fee plus commission if they win?
I've heard from a lot of trainers that once the fighter makes it to
a certain point,
that they give them a flat fee, which I think is very wrong for a trainer that started you and built you.
That's crazy.
They should give you a bonus.
Facts.
Instead of capping you
instead of cutting your purse, and a lot of fighters want to do that. I think that's totally wrong, man. You think I had Bam here in my camp since he was 15. If he tells me, Robert, I think I need to pay less, motherfucker, you should give me a bonus.
Where
you're at, you know what I mean? Little Bam will never do that. None of my fighters ever done that. The only fighter that gave me a cap, but it was my only fight that I worked with him, and totally understandable, Anthony Joshua. With Anthony Joshua, it was a one-fight thing. I went, they told me how much I'm going to make, and I'm okay with it. I didn't say, you need to give me 10% because I would have ended up with like $5 million because that fucker makes a lot of money. You know what I mean? So it's business, and I understood. So, we had a cap there. But I've never had that situation with none of my fighters. I think they respect the work that I do, and I do my job, man. I do my job, so I deserve my percentage. And I've never been in that situation. I've heard it from other fighters. I've heard it from other trainers that that tell me that, but I've never been in that. I think it's all because the fighters with us we're more like family, man. If you see everybody here training
this is
together.
A family situation here.
I got guys like Virgil Ortiz, who's a superstar, Jose Ramirez, and they're training with all the kids that are training pro. I think my team is that way. Nobody's asking me to shut the doors and don't let nobody in. We're a team. We're family. And like that, I don't think they would do that to their dad or oh, dad, I can't pay you anymore. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way they see me.
So then it's safe to say that you receive a percentage versus a flat fee.
Correct.
Unless negotiated like with Joshua.
The Anthony Joshua situation, yes.
Let's say I wanted to hire you to train me as a celebrity boxing influencer bullshit, blah, blah, blah. What would that fee look like?
If, another one just like Anthony Joshua, if it's something with that, I'm barely going to, if I didn't have to build you from the amateurs to the pros to one day become world champion, I need to get paid my percentage. If it's something where you're going to do one, then obviously
negotiable.
Something, yeah, exactly. You make me an offer, and stuff like that, just like the way it happened with Anthony Joshua. Because it's,
I'm assuming my ticket would be.
I didn't work with you years to develop you to one day, tell me, oh, I could only pay you so much.
You're definitely developing me to take a punch.
You took some good ones today.
That was crazy. Garcia versus Haney without the bullshit. Assuming there was no bullshit. Tip top, prime, both of them. Who wins and why?
I think Haney, bro. It's I don't want to go against Garcia because his power is, I told you guys, somebody that has power always has that chance. And Haney has been hurt. Mm-hmm. He's been hurt. Linares hurt him,
That was a close one.
So he's been hurt. So Ryan is very fast and has tremendous power. So if he lands, if Haney makes a mistake and throws a lazy right hand, he's going to get countered and get knocked out.
For sure.
Yes. If he throws,
whether he's crazy or not.
If he throws a lazy right hand or he thinks he already has, if he goes through 11 rounds and he thinks, I already got him, and it's the last round. He could still get knocked out because Ryan hits hard. But I don't think Haney will fall into that. I think Haney's so talented, so dedicated. He's he's one of those few fighters that even though he's already making millions and millions, he still trains like if it was his first fight.
That's
like
amazing. He's still hungry.
Exactly, he's still hungry.
The fire's still burning.
So it doesn't matter how hard. I don't think Ryan will land that punch. Anybody that went in against Mayweather, same thing. Mayweather was making $50 million fights. Canelo right now, they still train. They still get in shape. They still know that there's danger in there, so they're not gonna fall into it. I think Haney wins.
What can Ryan do to secure that victory? Or is it just not possible?
It's possible. That's not Ryan's style, but if Ryan was to just go after Haney, and because Haney doesn't have the power to hurt somebody that easy. He might drop Ryan, but his record doesn't show that he just has crazy power. So if Ryan doesn't respect that and just keeps going and pins him into the ropes, throws a lot of punches, he could land that one punch and not give Haney a chance to throw back, because you're just gonna be throwing a lot of punches, and kind of like Maidana did to Brunner. But that's not Ryan. Ryan doesn't do that. Ryan will never do that. I think Ryan's gonna try to counter, and it's gonna be hard for him to land that punch. I'd be happy to see him do it because I know him. He's a great kid. His family always show me a lot of respect. They've been here to spar a few times, so I know them. Haney, I know them too, but I would like to see Ryan win. I would love to see him. He's Mexican American from Southern California, so I'll be cheering for him.
Of course. Respectfully, what do you think about all of the things that's going on with him in the media right now? Because I've never seen nothing like that in boxing, ever. We've seen some crazy shit from people, but
I would probably search for help, bro. Because I think he needs help. Look, if you have a fighter going through that, and it I don't think it's normal or it's part of promoting the fight.
Absolutely,
you can promote
not.
the fight so many other ways. From what I've seen, some of those videos, I think he needs help. And if I was the manager, if I was the promoter, if I was the parents,
what if you were the trainer?
With Derek James, he's getting paid, so he don't give a. He's gonna get paid.
You're gonna get paid if you were his trainer. So what difference?
If I was his trainer, like Derek James, who just came to me, I would want to get paid too. You know what I mean? Because he didn't bring him. If that was happening it's happened to us. Where one of my fighters starts having a little bit of problems mentally. We have to tell him.
Hey, fool.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's a kid that we turn pro, that we love as part of the family. Derek James, he's gonna get paid. But I'm talking about everybody else around him. The managers, the
people that are with him.
They've been with him for many years. Unless they know something that we don't know. Maybe it is just acting. Maybe he is just playing the part just to sell the fight more. I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but maybe we're wrong.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't think he's joking either.
There's been, we've had other situations where the fighter becomes a superstar and starts making millions of dollars, and the whole family goes crazy. The whole family,
they kind of snap. They don't know what to do.
They think they're the superstars. The brothers, the sisters, the dad, the mom, the grandparents, they go crazy. We've seen it before. So hopefully that's not the case with Ryan. I would love to see him get help because he's a good kid.
Hopefully he wins and everything turns out cool.
It would be nice to see him win, but I think it would make it worse. You know what? Imagine he wins.
That's crazy.
And what he's going through, what he's saying, and if he wins, it'll double.
It's almost like enabling it.
It'll double, bro.
I don't know, man. As we sit here I look on the walls. I see a lot of sponsorship banners and stuff like that. Uh, what other avenues of income do you have outside of training?
One thing that my dad, my dad went to, I think, third grade is the most he went in Mexico. Always had to work, to provide for his parents. Then coming to Oxnard, always he's been here. I'm 49, so 49 years, because that's when the whole family moved. Because my mom came to the States pregnant, so I could be born in the States.
Shout out to
If not, I would have been born in Mexico.
That's right.
Mike and I are the only ones born in the States. The rest of my brother and sisters, they're all born in Mexico. So they never, my dad never learned English. He's been here for almost 50 years.
I know. I struggle speaking Spanish to him every time we're together.
And he never learned English. Always working. So, he struggled, feeding six, because Mikey was born a little bit late. Mikey was he's the youngest, so he was born late. But it was hard. It wasn't easy. We grew up in a trailer park, the whole family living in a small 1-bedroom trailer.
That's crazy.
Until my parents were able to buy a house. That's when Mikey was born, when Mikey was born, still in the trailer park, when we were living in the trailer park. But right after that is when my parents bought their first house in Oxnard. So I think their lives changed. It was a 4-bedroom house, so now it was, you know what I mean? I always shared bedroom with my older brother, but we had our own bedroom, at least. Mm-hmm. Before, it was the whole family, brothers, sisters, parents, everybody living together. So it wasn't easy, but my dad never gave up, bro. My dad never gave up. He always knew he was gonna have something. He was gonna be something. And he tells us stories about him walking by furniture stores and my mom looking at those furniture,
I wish we could have it.
And my dad, one day I'm gonna have that for you. One day I'm gonna buy you that. And that day came, you know what
Facts.
I mean? So those are things that those are stories that my dad have told us. Back in Mexico before I was born, the four my 3 sisters and brother that are older than me, they were already alive. They've told us they remember stories where it wasn't easy, bro. It was hard.
What other businesses do you got besides being a trainer?
I just opened up a carniceria.
Fire. The one on Iowa.
The one in Iowa.
It's bomb. I've been there.
3375 Iowa. Yeah, it's good, man. The food there is
I need a
crazy,
promo
bro.
code.
People love that. People love that food there. But what we did, the meat, before we bought it, when we bought it, the old owner didn't focus too much on the carniceria, on the meat.
What the fuck was he focused on?
The food, the restaurant is
it's half and half.
Because it's still, it has like a restaurant, everything, Mexican food, whatever you want. So that was the main business. So when we took over, because I have a partner, my boy Ivan.
Yeah.
When we took over, we changed the carniceria, the meat. We put nothing but prime, good stuff.
Bomb.
And it's picking up, bro. Everybody that goes there, the ones that eat there, they tell me the food is great. But when they buy the meat to go barbecue in their house and do that, nothing but good comments. So we're doing good, bro. We also have our own panadero there.
Fire.
So he's there in the mornings, does all the bread, the Mexican pan dulce, and puts it in the shelf. He goes home and
comes back and it's gone.
And then next day in the morning, he does the same thing. I think he comes twice a day, mornings and evenings to do the pan. And the pan is great too, bro. So, and we also sell the drinks, the beer and all that. So
of course.
It's doing good, bro. It's,
if you got
something different that I wanted to do, because boxing is not for sure either. Sometimes I could have a fighter making millions of dollars and not making my percentage, but then I could go a few years without those guys because they retired, because Mikey didn't want to fight anymore. You know what I mean? Because Brandon is already retired, because my Dana didn't fight. So then my big purses also come to an end until I build up the next generation.
They say in the event of like a Armageddon or dystopian type of thing, there's 3 people that are going to continue to eat, and that's the butcher, the baker, and the chariot maker. And I see the smog check thing on there, so you might be able to fix the chariots too.
My
You know what I'm saying?
my other son, my second son, is the one that opened up the smog testing places, shops. He has two, and I also I feel so happy, so proud of him that he's done it on his own. When we first moved to Riverside County, I told him, well, let's be part of the gym too.
Boom.
All family. He's like, nah, I really don't like the coach, being a coach. I don't like that. I don't like dealing with kids and stuff like that.
Are we talking about Pita right now?
No, we're talking about Payo.
Okay,
my second
yeah.
one. Pita loves boxing.
Yeah.
Pita
I was
loves
like, what? He's in here.
It was my second one, Payo.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll just find something else to do. So my friend Ivan, who is a big boxing fan, he came to the gym, started sponsoring the gym, and he had his shops. He has like 4 shops here in Riverside, and he hired my son. My son learned from him,
boom.
Ivan says, look, I know everybody I hire, one day they're gonna want to go on their own. So he learned my son learned everything from Ivan, and now he's got his own shops, and he's doing good too.
I got an old school caddy. I need to get a smog, big dog.
You got to come up with my son. My son's the one to do it.
Let me ask you this. If you never did boxing ever and you only had the meat market, would you be able to maintain the lifestyle that you live right now? I'm not asking for a specific dollar amount.
The store that we have, I think it would be only enough to do good, but not the lifestyle that we've had, where we've had huge fights, bunches of paydays. It wouldn't be the same.
But but let me rephrase that then. You'd be able to be above middle class and get along just fine with that meat market.
I probably do be making a good living, yeah, because who's whatever like you said, whatever happens, during the pandemic, stores like that are, people are buying, that people have to eat, maybe you can do other stuff. Maybe you had to close maybe if you had a nightclub, maybe if you had something different.
It's different.
But food, everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
So I think I'd be doing good. I'd probably be there working. Maybe I would be getting rid of maybe a couple, you know what I mean? Because
we have an employee with yourself.
I would have to replace a few people with myself, my wife, you know what I mean?
Respectable.
Maybe the whole family would be working there.
It's normal.
You know that would probably be the way to be doing it.
No, I feel it. In most sports, we're the minority. I wouldn't say we are in boxing though. You know what I mean? We always hear the announcers say the Mexican fighting style. How would you actually describe the Mexican fighting style?
Well, everybody sees it as a fighter that goes forward, digs into the body, but also gets hit. I don't think so. I don't really think that's the case, bro. They see that because Mexicans have heart, bro.
So
Mexicans, they're just tough, and they'll go in there, they take a punch, they get cut, they get up, they keep fighting with blood in their face because of the heart that they have. But Chavez himself was very technical on the inside. He knew how to make his opponents miss. We've had great fighters like Marquez, who's a great counterpuncher. You know what I mean? So not every fighter is a tough, big heart, takes a good punch like Margarito, who got hit a lot too. There's so many different styles. Everybody's different. I think it's just.
Would you say it's more of a mentality then than a style?
I think it's more because of the heart. Everybody knows. Look, every fighter in boxing that's going in there and they bring an opponent, just an opponent. If that dude is coming from Mexico and he's wearing those shorts that have ADX, it's like a sponsor or something. You're in there and you're gonna be in a dogfight. You're in a dogfight because those fuckers come to fight. So that's why that's the Mexican style. But when you have fighters that are smart, technical fighters, Finito Lopez wasn't a brawler. He was a beautiful boxer, man. He was a beautiful boxer.
Awesome.
So there's been, Chiquita Gonzalez, but you have the guys like Pepino Cuevas who, man, they would go to wars. That doesn't mean every fighter's like. So I really don't think there is a Mexican style. I think it's Mexican heart. That's what it is. Because fighters, because they'll go out there to fight. They don't care if they get cut. They don't care if they get dropped. They're gonna get up and continue fighting.
Have you ever heard another race of fighter be described as having the Mexican style in them?
You know what? I think the fighters from Japan are tough too, man. Those guys are tough. Filipinos are tough.
Facts.
Those guys are tough. I think the guys from Ireland, they also have heart. Irish fighters, they have heart.
Yeah,
but when it comes to more complete fighters, Mexicans, I think people from Japan, they also have great heart, man. Those guys, every fighter that you see from Japan, you know you're in a real fight. It's not going to be easy for you.
I don't got very much stuff left for you, but I recall many moons ago, Brian Rios said you and him sparred.
I kicked his ass, bro.
He said
Nah, that's what he says, bro. Look, if you go back and see some of my fights, and he's talking maybe 10 years ago, more than that, because, he turned pro 04, I believe. So we're talking 20 years ago. I was 20 years younger.
That's true.
I kicked his ass, bro. If you go back and see some of my fights, I box pretty well. So Brandon's the type of fighter that if you fight on the inside, you're in trouble. If you're gonna exchange punches with him and just make it into a brawl, you're gonna be in trouble because Brandon is not gonna give up. Brandon had that heart, that mentality where ain't nobody gonna be better than him on the inside, and that's what made him what he became. But I could box. I was able to box. And I never, for 12 rounds, I would have got my ass kicked by Brandon. I got to be real too. But if I'm just going to spar for 1 or 2 rounds, I'm going to box the shit out of him.
What makes you say that you beat him in that particular sparring session?
Because it was just a one round. And for 3 rounds, I could do it. If it would have been 10 rounds, then I would have got my ass kicked.
If we sparred right now, would you f me up?
I don't think you would touch me. For real, you won't touch me. I don't think you'll touch me, bro. For real.
Oh man, I interviewed you watch basketball?
I watch basketball.
I interviewed Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
Remember Trevor Ariza? I asked him if he thinks I could beat him in 1-on-1. He said absolutely not. He said I would never score on him.
Exactly. It's true.
I think after our 45-day training session and you teach me whatever you teach me,
then you might land something.
me and you might have to go 20-second spar sessions.
Then you might land something. No,
Robert knocks me out.
It's just, dude, honestly, it's something that from the outside, people, we get some guys that, I could do that. I want to spar.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, it's not. It's totally different.
Also, real quick, what do you think Leo Santa Cruz would have did to me had I sparred him? Because I wanted to. They didn't have the body pad to take the punches, and I was like, you know what? Give me some headgear. Let's go a quick couple seconds. He would have hurt me, or
bad. Leo Santa Cruz, yeah, he's
a bad dude.
Even though he was a smaller weight class, he's a lot smaller than you, but he would still kick your ass. Because Leo is one of those fighters that throws so many punches around that you're gonna see him. You're gonna feel like there's 20 guys throwing punches at you. That's the way Leo is. Leo's one of the guys that I signed when he turned pro. He was one of my fighters. Yeah, he was one of my fighters. I signed him with Cameron Duncan because that was my partner. We signed him to Top Rank. Then when Top Rank, Leo had a draw, and Top Rank released him. And then that's when, Leo went on his own. I also stepped away.
Of course.
He went on his own and he became a superstar, made a lot of money. And
he's the man.
I was very happy for him because a lot of Top Rank didn't believe in him when he had that draw. They released him, and look at what he became.
Shout out to PBC.
He was exactly. Look at what Al Haymon did with him. Made him a millionaire.
May I ask what your opinion is on Al Haymon?
It's one of the smartest persons in the sport.
That's a bad dude.
He's made fighters make so much money that they wouldn't have done it with other promoters. Look at all the guys that he took when he broke his relationship, with his other guys. He made them all millionaires, bro.
Easy.
You talk to Abner Mares, he's gonna tell you. You know what I mean? These guys all make, they don't fight often. That's the thing that I kind of, I'd rather
a fighter
I want
fight.
fighters stay active. if I have a fighter with PBC, it's gonna be hard to get them 2 or 3 fights a year because it's gonna be tough, and that's what I like, especially when they're champions.
But do you think the payday would be fatter?
But yes, the paydays are fatter. Yeah, my brother Mikey did it, and the paydays were much.
I can
much
say
bigger.
I've cashed an Al Haymon check, and they're always good.
They are. They've always been good. All the fighters have always gotten paid really good. So he's a very smart man because he's the manager. So he's getting his percentage off what the fighters are making. So, of course.
He did make himself an employee.
That's why he's going to make the fighters all the money out there as much as he can because he's getting his percentage out of it.
Yeah.
So, smart man. One of the smartest men in boxing.
You have anything for this fine gentleman, Smokes, before we get out of here?
Earlier, you had said that you can't birth a boxer. Do you think it's the same with that fighting spirit? Are you born with that fight inside you? And if you are, have you ever seen a boxer lose that?
A fighter is born with those qualities. Like I said, you're born with power. You can't teach power. Right. You're born with heart. And you're also born with a chin. There's fighters, that could take a really good punch, and then those that get dropped. So those are things that come born naturally. Can you? I don't think there's you could probably get your neck a little bit stronger with a lot of neck exercise. Maybe you could get a little bit stronger physically, but that power, sometimes you see the skinniest guys, small arms, and they hit fucking hard. So that's just something that you can't, if you have it, you're going to have it, but you're not going to lose it either. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be that somebody that hits hard is never going to lose that.
What about the heart?
You could probably motivate a fighter to believe in himself and know how good he is, and that'll help. But when it comes to being inside the ring with somebody else that used to have 5 or 6 rounds left and he's already beating the shit out of you, he's gonna give up. He's gonna give up if his heart's already if he doesn't have the heart inside a real fight, he's going to give up. It doesn't matter how well he's doing. You're going to see him give up.
So having the heart is a must. When we were talking about game plans, etc., how much is just adjusting within the fight become part of the game plan?
A lot of it happens during the fight. That's why when we were talking about it, when I'm watching my opponent's videos, he's fighting somebody else.
Exactly.
He's inside the ring when the first or second rounder, I'm studying my opponent because I could see totally the opposite to what I seen in the videos. So that's where I have to adjust to the game plan too. I sometimes, a lot of times, you have to change the game plan from one round to the other. Sometimes you trained for 2 months to do something that when the bell rings,
it's not happening.
It's not going to happen. You're going to have to do the opposite.
Switch it up. Yeah.
So, most of the time it's in the fight, during the fight, from one round to the other, where you have to make an adjustment and make a game plan.
I got one question that I didn't ask you. At what point in all of this, whether it was in boxing as a boxer or at some point during being a trainer, at what point did you decide you made it? Like, I made it. I have made it in life.
I still haven't made it.
That's crazy. Is it monetary or what is it?
No, I just there's been a few fights where I know I should have won and we didn't win. A few title fights. My list should have been, I've made 14 world champions. I think it should be 17 or 18 title fights that I've lost. A lot of times it's not just because maybe I didn't do things right. Also the fighters, discipline, bad habits, the weight. They cut too much weight and they go in the fight weak. But I want to get to the point where I know I hardly ever lose a title fight. You know what I mean? I've made 14 world champions, but I've also lost a lot of title fights. There's one guy in here from San Diego that has the record of all my fights that I've had since I started training Felipe and Arturo Barraza that I told you guys. He knows my record. It's a great record. My championship fights, he knows. I think he even made a shirt not too long ago.
That's badass.
It added a little more. He made a shirt with the number 50 because I have 50 world title wins.
That's badass.
50 world title wins. But I also have some losses. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But he made a shirt with 50, and the shirt has the name of all my world champions and everything. It's a nice shirt. He has. I don't even know how the fuck he does it. He knows, Arturo Barraza and Felipe Campa, they were never televised, so they were. But he has the exact number of all the fights that I've worked with since I started training fighters. That's pretty amazing. But I still need more, bro. I still need more. I think I'm 49. Man, I could do this for another 30 years if I want, but at least 20 more. I know I'm gonna be at it. I don't want to. My dad says plan out your retirement. I've been retired for fucking 20 years. What I'm doing what I love. He's like, plan your retirement.
That's hard.
No, I told my dad, what do you mean plan my retirement? I'm retired. I love doing this. I love traveling. I love, going with my fighters and winning belts. And I'm not working. I've been retired. I love what I do. I just get paid for it.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? And I also have time to enjoy, enjoy my family, enjoy my grandkids. I have 3 grandkids, 2 boys and a girl. I every chance I get, I take my wife to the fights with me. Every chance I get, if it's just a weekend, because I can't plan a vacation out because I don't know when my fighters are going to fight. I have too many fighters that I don't know. So I don't plan out vacations. But if it's a weekend that I don't have fights, let's catch a flight to Cabo. Let's catch a flight let's go for the weekend. I do that.
That's nice.
I want to, you know what I mean? And if it's 2 fights, I'll take my wife with me because, I think she's part of it too. We've been together for 31 years.
That's amazing.
31 years. So
I'm 22 years behind you.
I want her to enjoy all that too.
That's amazing. Well, shit, I don't got anything else. Anything you want to leave the people with before we go?
Good, bro.
Highly appreciate you. The legend, Robert Garcia, right here at RGBA, City of Riverside. We highly appreciate you. If you guys are in the general area, hit up his meat market, Fire, right there on Iowa. Other than that, this has been Beyond the Label podcast, sponsored by Shaka. New speed shirt. You know what it is. LA Eyekon, Godsmoke, Robert Garcia. We have John in the building. Highly appreciate y'all. We're out.
Awesome, bro.